Hey guys, what's up? Emo Cat Dad here, hanging out with you, bringing you yet another edition of Emo Cat Dad Listens. If you're new here, first off, thanks so much for stopping by. Let me tell you what I do. Every day of 2024, I vow to check out a new band or artist. I check out 4 songs from across their discography, give you my initial thoughts on those songs, give you my ranking of those songs, and then, of course, give you my overall thoughts on the band or artist based on what I just said. As you can see right there, today's artist is called Royel Otis. This was a suggestion from one of you fine folks. Never heard of this artist before. I've since found out that they started to go viral earlier this year with a cover of a song. I seen the video that everyone else has.
You got me wrapped around your finger. Do you have to let it linger? Do you have to? Do you have to? Do you have to let it linger?
But yeah, so I watched that video. It seems like they're an alternative duo. The vocals are pretty solid in that video, so I'm expecting some good vocals. But other than that, I don't really know what to expect from the original. So I guess without wasting any more time, let's just dive into Royel Otis. Royel Otis has previously released 3 EPs, as well as their debut full-length earlier this year. So I will just check out one song from each of those. Starting with their first EP, Campus, from back in 2021, I checked out the track Without You. Okay, so this starts off with some super low quality production. I was scared. I was like, oh, I'm not gonna like this at all. But it ended up being a choice because after the first little section, it picks up and cleans up the production quite a bit. So I guess that's what they were going for. I don't dig it, but it is what it is. The electronics and especially the claps, I love a good background clap if we can. Play perfectly with the guitars and the drums on this song. I do wish the vocals were better. I wouldn't say they were muted, but they were lower in the mix than I would have liked, and I think it's just his vocal style is very soft because that's what it was in that video as well. The lyrics are solid when not repeating, but this was early in their career, so I can overlook it because I feel like they'll move on from that. Next up was their EP Bar and Grill, which features their most streamed song, Oysters in My Pocket. Alright, so the guitar is phenomenal on this track. I did not expect that on basically what amounts to like an alternative dance pop tune. The guitar does obviously lead the music, but overall the package here is just super catchy. But unfortunately, after just saying that the repetition will hopefully be a thing of the past, there's actually more repetition on this track than last. So I'm a little worried now going forward. Alright, in 2023, they released their most recent EP called Sofa Kings. Funny. And I checked out the track, Sofa King.
I'm a disgrace, this happens all the time.
Okay, I'll be honest, it would actually be funnier if they leaned into the Sofa King. They do use that near the end of the song, but he's referring to himself as a Sofa King. But in the chorus, they just use the actual word. Speaking of that chorus, and specifically that line, that is the hook. It does repeat twice, but other than that, that's the only repeat we have. It's very common for bands to repeat something to make the hook, so I'm not going to bump into it. I would still prefer just a straight up normal hook, and I think just one time it could have worked still, but at least it wasn't done as much as the last track. Musically, I'd say this is a breezy pop tune, but it's still got a lot of alt in there. In fact, I think this is probably the most alternative sounding track out of the 3 so far. Alright, EPs are done. Royel Otis is an album band now. They released their debut album earlier this year called Prats and Pain, and I checked out Foam. Alright, so the chorus does repeat twice after the first verse, and I'm like, okay, don't love that, but I guess I can live with it. And then we get the second verse, which is good, and then the chorus hits again, and it repeats 3 times. No. And it goes out on that, so we literally get verse, and the chorus 5 times. So obviously not a fan of the lyrics, but musically, this is probably my favorite sounding song. I just wish the tune had better lyrics attached. Alright, so those are 4 tracks I checked out. Let's go ahead and rank them. At number 1, I'm putting Sofa King. Wordplay aside being a little disappointing for a song called this, I really enjoyed the alternative aspects shining through on this track, more so than the other tracks that leaned more pop. At 2, I'll put Oysters in My Pocket. After picking the most alternative song, I'm picking the most pop song here. There's repetition, yes, but it's not as much as on Foam, and the music is just so fun and bouncy. I still had a really good time with this track. At 3, I'm putting Foam off the new album. Musically, this was my favorite, but the lyrics just weren't there for me with the repeating chorus over and over again. I did like the chorus in a vacuum, but hearing it that many times I didn't feel was necessary, especially on a track this short. And finally at 4, Without You. I actually really liked a lot about this song. Just that beginning part with the low production scared me a little bit. Luckily it got away from that. But this was also my least favorite vocal performance out of the 4 tracks, which vocals are obviously very important to me. But ultimately, I do think that I would come back to this track, because after all, it was their debut EP. I'm not going to hold it against them for a lower standard vocal performance. Alright, so what are my overall thoughts on Royel Otis? The repetition needs to stop. I just did a video yesterday on Sumo Psycho where I basically said the same thing. Musically, I think this band is great, and I could listen to a lot of their songs. Musically, the lyrics repeating so much does get to be a little tiresome after a while. So I don't know if I'm going to go through this entire album, because I feel like, 12, 13 tracks this could be a little much. But hey, if you're watching this, if you listen to the album and the lyrics don't actually repeat that much, please let me know in the comments. If enough people tell me that, then I'm probably going to give it a shot, because I do think this band is very talented. Alright guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I'm your friendly neighborhood Emo Cat Dad. I appreciate you sticking around to the very end of this video. If you haven't already, please leave me some suggestions in the comments below and let me know your thoughts on Royel Otis. Whether you just seen the viral video and you think that's pretty cool, or whether you've dug into their back discography, what you think about it, whether you like that new album, whether you think I would like the new album. Let's have a conversation. But hey, if you don't want to talk to me, that's cool. I get it. It doesn't cost you anything, but whatever you say goes, or don't say. I just hope you guys stick around with me for the rest of my journey through 2024, checking out a new band every day. So the best way to do that is if you cut my wrists and hit subscribe. Emo Cat Dad signing off for now until tomorrow. I want to hear you sad.